Listen, and let the ears of your heart open like the calyx of the morning glory to the first touch of dawn. For I carry a tale from the savannahs of Oyo, where the Iroko trees stand as elders, and the red dust remembers every footstep. It is the story of the Dundun of truth, aye, not merely a drum of hide and wood, but a vessel carved when the moon hung full and the sap of the Ajani tree ran sweet. They said its voice could make old men dance and crying babies find sleep. But on the night of the new yam harvest, the drum did something no ancestor had prepared them for. It began to speak with the tongue of the uncompromising sun, stripping shadows bare as the Harmattan strips the acacia. And from that moment, no lie in the village could find a place to hide. In the time when the Harmattan winds were giving way to the first rains, there lived a village that loved music more than the cooing of doves. The new yam festival was approaching, a time when the earth gives back what she has borrowed. Women pounded grain before the sun cracked the horizon, as persistent as termites at the heartwood. Men strung lanterns between the palm fronds, and the air smelled of roasting kola nut and wood smoke. In the center of the square stood the drum everyone had come to see. It was tall and beautiful, carved from dark Ajani wood, polished smooth as a river stone worn by centuries of water. Around its body curled patterns of the kingfisher and the python, coiled in eternal wisdom. It had been made by Olowe, whose hands could hear what the wood was dreaming. When he unveiled it, the village held its breath like a mother watching her firstborn take its first step. Olowe spoke, and his voice was as deep as the roots of the Iroko. "This," he said, resting his palm upon the drumhead, "is a drum for clean hearts. For the Dundun does not merely sing, it listens to the silence between your thoughts." Among those standing nearest was Ajani, the son of the village drummer. Ajani was as swift as the antelope and as eager as the morning star. His father had granted him one honor, to strike the first rhythm on Olowe's new drum. Ajani's hands trembled like leaves in a storm. As the sun sank into the arms of the earth and the square filled with the song of crickets and voices, Ajani stepped forward. The fire painted his face in gold and shadow. He raised his hands. The first beat rolled out, deep and rich as the soil after rain. Boom! The second leaped after it. Boom! Boom! A cheer rose like birds from the bush. Then Ajani struck the drum a third time. Boom! And the drum answered, not with music, but with words. The Balogun's granary, the drum spoke, its voice deep as thunder over the savannah, is fuller than the drum of the talking gourd. While the people hunger, the rats feast. Silence fell so suddenly that even the nightbirds seemed to cease their song. The chief stiffened like the Iroko refusing the wind. Ajani, pale as the moon, struck again. Boom! The trader Alao uses false weights. His scales tip like the heart of a dishonest man. Alao turned red as the kola nut. "This is witchcraft!" he cried. But the widow in the crowd, she did not cry out. She only nodded, her tears falling like rain upon dry earth. One by one, like seed pods bursting in the heat, the hidden things came crawling into the light. A brother who had stolen from his brother's inheritance. A mother who favored one sapling and starved another. A young man who bragged of killing the leopard, yet had fled when his friend met the claws. Each truth landed like the baobab fruit, heavy, undeniable, shattering the calm waters of the night. Then, without being struck, the drum spoke to the drummer. The drummer's son, it said, hides a thorn in his own heart. Ajani's knees gave way like the stem of the guinea corn before the locust. He had broken his father's smaller drum by the river's edge weeks before. Out of fear sharper than the acacia thorn, he had hidden the pieces in the reeds and blamed passing strangers. Now, before the whole village, his voice trembled like a reed in the flood. "It was I," he whispered. "I broke the drum. I was afraid, so I lied." His father did not strike him. He only looked upon him with eyes as sad as the empty riverbed. That sadness cut deeper than any blow. Then Olowe stepped forward, his shadow stretching long as the baobab at sunset. "Many say they love truth," he intoned. "But what they love is truth when it points at another's compound. The real test comes when truth points at your own threshold."
One by one, the heavy knots began to loosen. The chief opened his granary. Alao returned what he had stolen, cowrie by cowrie. Femi bowed before the widow, offering to rebuild what he had broken. The festival fire had burned low, but something better than dancing had begun. Not all tears were wiped away that night. Not every wound closed before morning, but before the last lanterns dimmed. Food had been shared with those who had gone without. The village felt as though a tight knot in its chest had finally, painfully, slowly begun to loosen. Ajani remained beside his father until the last of the crowd had gone home. "I was afraid," he said softly, "that you would never trust me again." His father was quiet, then said, "A lie is a wall. It does not protect you. It only keeps help from reaching you." He picked up one mended piece and turned it over. "This drum can be remade. The wood remembers what it was. But a man who refuses truth when it costs him something, that is harder to repair than wood." When the next harvest came, the Dundun spoke only through rhythm, and the whole village danced, not because they were without fault, but because they had finally begun to face the snakes in their own granaries. Ajani, 1 year older and carrying something in his chest that had not been there before, the particular lightness of those who have put down what they were never meant to carry, stepped before the drum. He raised his hands, and the drum spoke through music alone. Deep, full, joyful music, and the whole village danced. Old Olo was never seen in that village again. Some said he had moved on to the next village that needed his particular gift. Some said he had never truly been a man of ordinary making. Some said, and these were the elders who spoke in the low, careful voice, reserved for things that are true, but cannot be fully explained, that Olowe was something the ancestors had sent, shaped like a craftsman, to do what only truth could do. But the drum remained, standing in its square, ordinary as wood and skin, and extraordinary as everything that wood and skin had held. Like the cow who gives milk to many, share this story with those who need to hear it. Strike the bell so you do not miss the next tale when the moon is full. Subscribe and walk with me, African folktales and stories, as we keep the fire of the ancestors burning bright. Until the road brings us back together, may your steps be guided by wisdom. Go well.